In national news tonight, violence on the picket line in Ontario. Striking civil service workers tried to stop politicians from getting inside government buildings, so the riot squad was called in. And as Mike Murphy reports, at least 4 protesters were sent to hospital.
It wasn't the usual Monday morning trip to the office for members of Premier Mike Harris's Conservative government. The Ontario Provincial Police Riot Squad was called in to clear the way. Officers waded in for what appeared to be an unprovoked attack. They used their truncheons to crash through the picket lines of striking civil servants. This probation officer was smashed in the head. An elementary school teacher, David Harris, was clubbed to the ground.
They were standing, not pushing, and I took a truncheon on the leg just below the knee.
The strike by 55,000 Ontario civil servants has taken an ugly turn as it enters its 4th week. The picket lines were beefed up as the spring session of the legislature got underway, and government ministers were hassled and jeered as they tried to cross. Even the Premier had trouble getting to work. Our cameras caught the tail end of his entourage pushing through the picket lines.
Thanks. Solidarity forever, fellas.
Later, another group of government ministers made a mad dash for their offices across the street from the legislature, and there was another violent scene. Premier Harris denied that his government gave the riot squad the orders to charge.
You don't expect the Premier of the province of Ontario to direct or run the police. There'll be appropriate investigations if there was inappropriate action.
This is just plain crazy. And like I said, I like living in Ontario. I don't like this Harris bill much.
Now, as contract talks continue under a news blackout, the government has applied to the courts to limit the number of picketers outside the legislature. Mike Harris seems determined to tell the people of Ontario that it's business as usual, that the government is determined to carry on with its deficit-slashing, tax-cutting agenda. But the strikers seem equally determined to shut the government down, and the actions of the OPP riot squad today may have strengthened their resolve. In Toronto, Mike Murphy, Channel 11 News.
Premier Klein reacted to the riot by saying whenever there's change, there's bound to be people who don't like it. And while his government has made it through a massive cost-cutting program, Klein says Ontario residents are making it tough for their government to make changes.
Public service is much, much larger. Secondly, I believe strongly that that insofar as labor is concerned, that there are in Ontario many more powerful private sector unions